Here. Manu, center.
Can we have a huge round of applause for our guest of honor, Mirza, our entrepreneur, Dr. Manjula Pooja Shroff, and our author.
I am Akhil Menon, your host for the day. It is rightly said, whenever you read a good book, somewhere in the world, a door opens to allow in more light. Today, we are all gathered here to celebrate the artist journey of the very inspiring entrepreneur, Dr. Manjula Pooja Shroff. That is beautifully captured between the pages by the award-winning author, Miss Anurita Rathod Jadeja, which is titled Success Mantras and Music. Can we have a huge round of applause, please? As we know, Dr. Shroff is a multifaceted entrepreneur, inspiration and motivator. But Dr. Shroff has many more other dimensions to her personality as well. Very few of us know about it. The fun-loving sporty side or her adventurousness. So let's have a quick glimpse of those dimensions and the journey of the book from New Delhi to New York and many more through an audiovisual. Can we have the AV, please? Wow, this was very inspiring. I'm sure this book will be a delight for the readers. But by now, you'll be thinking about the whole ideology of the book. Like, how did it happen? When did it happen? Well, to answer all those questions, I'd request to call on the woman who birthed this book to share her experience, a senior journalist, author, speaker, and a media professional, coursing through Times of India, Indian Express, Ahmedabad Mirror, and then co-authoring several other books. Please give a huge round of applause for Miss Anurita Rathod Jadeja.
Good afternoon. You see, when we come across somebody who's been in the public eye, someone whom we know has done very well in whatever field, you know, they could be an industrialist, they could be an educationist. In this case, she's an edupreneur. And as a journalist, I had known her and her work for quite a few, I mean, over a decade, about maybe a year, a decade and a half. And everybody, not just me, but people would know her as somebody who is very passionate about education, someone who wants to do new things in the field of education, and you know, somebody who wants to speak for causes, helming causes, and going the whole hog for all of that. So this is how it was all along. And then, of course, you know, a few conversations from one thing to the other led, and we sort of ended up meeting each other sometime before the pandemic. And I realized that there was a very different side to her. And I've always felt that, you know, when you know people professionally, you know more about the work they do. You know more about how they think and all in terms of that work and profession. Here, I got to see and know a very different side. You know, I got to know a little bit about her personal life story, what her childhood was like, what her dreams were, how she took the reins of her family, especially, you know, when it comes to handling things financially at home. When she told me that she had stepped into her teens when she was actually in charge of everything. She comes from a royal family, and Ichapuram. She used to stay in a palace, and then she went to a hostel, she went to a boarding school. So everything that she spoke about at that point of time really made me wonder as to how life back then could have been. She spoke to me about people who were very close to her, which included, of course, parents, her mom, her paternal uncle, maternal aunt, grandmother. So when we were speaking about all of that, and when she spoke about some trials and tribulations, she spoke about challenges, she spoke about dreams, what she wanted to do, how she was very determined to do what she wants to do, and she was very sure that, about whatever she wanted to do. So when we would speak about all that, I thought that it was very different than what one had known of her while being in Ahmedabad and even otherwise as an educationist. That prompted me to think that maybe there is a book that could be there in the offing, because hers is an inspirational journey. Also, there was one thing I realized. I come from a very, very sheltered and protected background, and since I got married after 30, I was really like the baby of the family, despite being a journalist from the age of 20. Very difficult for me to understand that how could somebody, suddenly in her early 20s leave Orissa, come to Delhi and establish herself, learn, and she'll tell you more about where she stayed and all of that. It was very inspirational. In fact, it was something that I would wonder how life for a person like that could be. And for me to wonder, it was even more because, when you are from a very sheltered and protected background, you really wonder how somebody could take decisions like that. And it became a sort of a challenge. I thought writing this story would be very interesting. And that is how I suggested, and I said that, a book on your life is absolutely due, and we must do. And of course, first she laughed it off and she said, "Are ye sab kahan?" And then I said, no, I mean, there is something. And then I think the pandemic gave her, me, all of us, it gave us all a lot of time to sort of think what we want to do. और वहाँ से फिर शुरू हुआ, and हमने लिखना शुरू किया, तो फिर ऐसा लगता है अभी book पढ़ेंगे आप, तो it is something that you will be able to, you read the book and it's not just कि मंजुला पूजा श्रॉफ की जर्नी है. वो जो कह रही हैं, वो जो उन्होंने जो मुझसे बातें करी, वो मुझे समझ में आती थी, मैं लिखती थी, और आप जब पढ़ेंगे तो आपको भी लगेगा, इनमें से कई चीज़ें आपको लगेंगी कि हाँ, ये चीज़ें आपने या तो कहीं सुनी है या शायद आप भी फील करेंगे. So that was the whole thing, that maybe because she is somebody who gives other people also, like they say, benefit of doubt, and also wants to believe and understand other people's journeys. So therefore, it all comes across in the book. So this is how it is, and I think we'll let her. Yeah, that's it. If anybody has anything to ask, I mean, we can always come back to it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, I would like to thank Ms. Renu Kaul Verma, the publisher of this book, a former journalist with leading experience like the Indian Express and the Hindustan Times. She has committed to publishing books that dead the system, like Dalit Phobia, Why Do They Hate Us, and many more. Please give a huge round of applause, but unfortunately, she could not be here due to some personal emergencies. With that, please. With that, I think the wait should be over and we should arrive to the moment that we have all been waiting for. I'd request all our guests to come and let's go ahead with the book release. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, I would like to call on the soul of the book and the woman of the hour, whose long adventurous journey has been penned in these 19 chapters. The Secular India Award from the President of India, Shri Shankar Dayal Sharma, and Woman of the Year by American Bibliography Society, North Carolina. She also maintains her own digital school with the goal of enriching people's lives through understanding of mental, physical, and spiritual well-being courses and strategies called Shroffism. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause for this inspiring edupreneur who went beyond the rule book to create her own path for success. Dr. Manjula Pooja Shroff.
Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, पहले तो thank you so much for being here. आप चाहे यहाँ दिया जी के लिए आए हों, कहानी मेरी कहा जा रहा है, so thank you so much for being here. पता है 3 महीने पहले जब ये बुक रिलीज़ हुई थी, मुझे ज़रा भी आइडिया नहीं था कि एक बुक कितना पावर रख सकता है. I really did not know that. ना तो मैंने एक्सपेक्ट किया था दैट हर एक सिटी में जाके हम लोग रिलीज़ करेंगे. वाई आई एम सेइंग कि स्टोरीज हैव टू बी टोल्ड, जो मैंने सीखा है ये बुक रिलीज़ होने के बाद, इज़ बिकॉज देखिए हम बच्चों से जुड़े हुए हैं और जब हम डिमांड करते हैं यूथ से कि आप ये करें, वो लोग कभी कभी सोचते हैं कि आप तो आपके कमरे में बैठते हो, एयर कंडीशन में बैठते हो, आपको क्या पता हमारे रियलिटीज़ क्या हैं. दिस बुक इज़ एन आई ओपनर कि आजकल के बच्चे अगर उनको आईफोन नहीं मिलता है उसको प्रॉब्लम मानते हैं, तो उनकी उम्र में आई वॉज डीलिंग विद 5-6 पीपल्स डेथ्स. मुझे एक हक मिलता है यूथ को बोलने के लिए कि अगर मैंने किया है तो आप भी कर सकते हो. ये तभी आप कह सकते हैं जब आपकी स्टोरी लिखा जाता है, अदरवाइज वो एक डिस्कनेक्ट होती है यूथ के साथ. Another thing that I learned in this journey is that, पता है बोलते हैं that women don't help each other, women claw each other down, ऐसा सब कहते हैं. I only have seen women in this journey of 3 months with this book. Lady is an author. रेनू जी जिसके बारे में हमने बात किया, जो दिल्ली से एक पब्लिशर हैं. एंड हाल में, I mean 4 दिन पहले दिया जी अहमदाबाद में थी टू रिलीज द गुजराती बुक. आई वॉज जस्ट टेलिंग हर, जब मैं बाहर मिली उनको, आपने सच्ची में अहमदाबाद का दिल जीत लिया है. अभी तक बातें कर रहे हैं आपके बारे में लोग. पता है जब हम लोग एक सेलिब्रिटी को मिलते हैं, हम ये मानते हैं कि वो अपना एक ऐसे तो दिखना चाहिए, एक्सपेक्टेड तो है ही बिकॉज एक्टर हैं, सेलिब्रिटी हैं. हम ये मानते हैं कि वो आएंगे एक कर्सरी रिप्रेजेंटेशन करके चले जाएंगे. ऐसा बिल्कुल ही नहीं था अहमदाबाद में इनके साथ, ना यहाँ होगा. आप देखोगे हाउ इन्वॉल्व्ड शी वॉज इन द बुक, हाउ मच सिस्टरहुड जिसको बोलते हैं शी शोज़, हाउ मच सेंसिटिविटी शी शोज़. ये मैं उनको जानती नहीं हूँ, वो मुझे नहीं जानते हैं. वी आर जस्ट कनेक्टिंग एज विमेन. तो ये गलत है, ये एक myth that women pull down each other. I don't think it is true. And in these 3 months, I have really seen that happen. The third thing that I would like to say that I learned through this book is, जब आपके बारे में लिखा जाता है ना, आपकी जो सॉफ्ट साइड है उसके बारे में लिखा जाता है, आपकी सेटबैक्स के बारे में, आपके सक्सेस के बारे में तो लिखा जाता है, पर मंत्रा तो तभी बनते हैं ना जब आप सिखाते हो कि फेलियर के साथ कैसे जीना होता है. आई लर्न टू स्पीक अबाउट फेलियर ओपनली. आई लर्न टू टॉक अबाउट सेटबैक ओपनली, जो कि मैं 3 महीने पहले इतनी कंफर्ट से नहीं बात कर सकती थी. क्योंकि बच्चे तो खैर हैं जिनके रोल मॉडल्स हम हैं, बट हर एक के लाइफ में सेटबैक इज़ अ गिवन. सेटबैक तो होना ही है. वन फॉर्म और द अदर देयर विल बी फेलियर, देयर विल बी सेटबैक. द फैक्ट ऑफ लाइफ इज़ नॉट सेटबैक. द फैक्ट ऑफ द लाइफ इज़ आप उस मोमेंट को लेके, उस मोमेंट से क्या सीखते हैं और आगे कैसे बढ़ते हैं. It is in 3 months that I started to say either there is success or there is lesson learned. There is no such thing as failure. There is no such thing as setback. but ये मेरी personal growth है कि मैं इतनी comfortably setbacks के बारे में बात कर सकती हूँ, and all that a simple book has given me. Of course, I learned the process of a book writing. ज़रा सा तो जिक्र किया है अनुरिता जी ने. It was very exciting. पता है वो thousands of questions पूछती जाती थी and मैं जवाब देती थी. It was of course up to her कि वो क्या लिखेंगे, but the process itself was very exciting. Even the Gujarati process, मैंने translators हैं ना, हम उनको उतना value नहीं करते हैं जितना करना चाहिए. It is very very challenging. एक दूसरे language से English से आप गुजराती में लिखें, वो fine elements आप निकालें, वो nuances आप निकाल के लिखें, is very tough. And they are faceless people. They are behind the camera. And मैं बोलती रही कि मुझे एक picture चाहिए with the translator. ऐसा नहीं कि आपको मेरे साथ picture चाहिए. It is my honor to have the picture with you. So I really learned that there are so many people working behind the scene. For this event, there are so many people working behind the scene. That sensitivity हमें चाहिए. Like I already said, we had a certain perception which she broke completely, that आप ऐसे stereotype नहीं बना सकते, आप ऐसे नहीं सोच सकते that just because we are from celluloid, we are not caring, sensitive people, and we will not come forward and play our role to the fullest. So these are huge learnings that I got as a person. Of course, ये मेरी खुशकिस्मती है. I'm extremely fortunate that मेरे life के बारे में आज कहा जा रहा है. Everybody sitting here, especially she, has a story to tell. हर एक के book में एक किताब लिखा जा सकता है. Everybody sitting there, आपके बारे में एक किताब लिखा जा सकता है. I am fortunate, I am lucky that I'm sitting here and my story is being told. I cannot be more grateful. I want to thank you one more time. And I hope you will bring out वो sensitivity इस book के बारे में, because इसके ज़रिए मेरा अगर एक ही message है, it is to the youth, that everybody is born with an inner voice. हमारे अंदर एक आवाज़ है जो हमसे बात करती रहती है. इस लाइफ की भागदौड़ में वो आवाज़ हमें सुनाई नहीं देती. We push away that voice. I have learned to listen to my inner voice. अगर मेरी एक ही मैसेज है यूथ के लिए, और पेरेंट्स और टीचर्स और एडल्ट्स जैसे हम हैं जो रोल मॉडल्स हैं, it is to please get in touch with that inner voice. Help our children get in touch with that inner voice, ताकि जब currents हों high या winds are really rough, वही एक आवाज़ है जो गाइड करेगी. And we may fall, but we will never ever break. With that, thank you so much.
Thank you for enlightening us with your inspiring journey, ma'am. We hope we imbibe some of your qualities in each every one of us. Now, I'd request our guest of honor to share her experience about the book. She's an actress, model, producer, and social worker who is a prominent face in the Bollywood industry. She won the title of Miss Asia Pacific International in 2000 after being crowned Femina Miss India Asia Pacific 2000. She made her debut with Rehna Hai Tere Dil Mein in 2001. She has done remarkable work in films including Das, Lagera Munna Bhai, and Sanju, among many others. She has also produced some amazing movies and web series. She has been involved with Cancer Patients AIDS Association and Spastic Society of India, and has worked extensively with the government of Andhra Pradesh to spread HIV awareness and prevention of female feticide. She also took initiative with Book Deke Dekho, a campaign by Radio Mirchi initiated to collect books from the underprivileged children. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ms. Dia Mirza.
Good evening, friends. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful that I've had the opportunity to launch this book in Ahmedabad a few days ago. And obviously, before launching the book, I read the book. And I have some thoughts to share about the book with all of you. I hope you'll all read it because as a woman, I found a lot of inspiration in the book and also found a lot of deep connections, meaningful connections with so many of her experiences, which I think we share. ये ऐसी किताब है जो, I mean, one basic question that everybody would ask is, why would anybody want to tell their life story? I guess because human beings have created a world that is completely and entirely moved by stories, you know, and every single one of us has a powerful story. And there are a few fortunate ones like Dr. Manjula Shroff, whose story gets told. And not for no reason. Her story has been told for good reason. She herself has acknowledged the fact that she hopes that young people and everybody who reads the book discovers that the one thing that guided her and continues to guide her in life is her own inner voice. And that for me was the most powerful, you know, part of this narrative, because wherever she was challenged by life, by circumstance, by situation, she always counted on her own unique voice, which has paved her story, but also has made her story authentic and real, and her story is her own entirely. It's one that she has crafted for herself in life. और बहुत कम औरतों को मौका मिलता है ये कहने का और ये करने का, because something or the other always dictates and determines how our life should be led. But in her case, she's been fortunate enough to always decide how she wanted to move forward and which direction she wanted to go in. I'm going to use this opportunity to read a few excerpts, my favorite parts from the book. Of course, they're favorite because of many reasons, but I think they also kind of give us all insight into what this book is about. What's nice about this book is, of course, it's 19 chapters, but आप कभी कोई भी पेज खोल के उतना हिस्सा पढ़ के किताब रख सकते हैं. You know, आजकल लोग पूरी किताब पढ़ने में people feel lazy. No, most people don't do it. I love reading a full book, but a lot of people don't do it, which is fine. So for people like that, they can open to any page and read a section and find something meaningful, find something beautiful, find something that resonates with them deeply. So there's this chapter called Homing In, and this is a part where she talks about looking back. Some incidents that change you forever. They weaken you or strengthen you depending on their immediacy, their time and situation. She speaks about losing her mother at a very young age and how that impacted her. I'm going to read out an excerpt from this section. Somewhere I realized I would have to live on my own terms and shape my life in a way my mother would be proud of. I wanted to do something meaningful. This desire often drove me from one step to another. I wanted to prove my worth and be everything that my mother could not be. She was like a beautiful porcelain doll kept inside a palace, meant only to follow, never to lead or take tough decisions. Somewhere that generated the strength and drive in me to go out there into the world and live a real life, one that was in sharp contrast to hers. It was mentioned very briefly that Dr. Manjula Shroff comes from the royal family in Odisha, and obviously there was many diktats. She doesn't talk about too many of them, but I'm sure there were many things, rules, regulations that the women of the family would have to follow. Her mother followed each of them. She did too, but not at the cost of losing herself. And I think that is the most powerful part about her journey, that she was willing to respect traditions, respect family, but not ever do it if it was disallowing her from becoming the woman that she was meant to be. है कि नहीं? इन्होंने ना अपना पैलेस छोड़ के ये दिल्ली में रहने चली गई अपनी दोस्तों के साथ, और ज़िंदगी में पहली बार लोकल बसेस पे ट्रैवल करने लगी. कोई रास्ता नहीं है, तब तो गूगल मैप्स भी नहीं थे, कोई रास्ते का ठिकाना नहीं था. ये तो कभी इनको बताना भी नहीं पड़ता था कि किसी को कि कहाँ जाना है, सबको पता होता था और सीधे डेस्टिनेशन ले चले जाते थे. इमेजिन लिविंग इन Juggies in Delhi after Barsatis, after living in a palace and finding her way. Very deeply altering experience, and I think it did her a lot of good, as terrifying as it was, because I think that was the first time in life where she realized कि अगर आगे बढ़ना है किसी भी इंसान को, तो डर के साथ आपको दोस्ती करनी होगी. And you have to do whatever you really believe you need to do despite the fear. Should I read out working women working with women? Yes. Okay. Being a woman, and I'm sure a lot of women in the audience here will recognize this. Being a woman and a working woman, I have naturally come across both men and women co-workers at all levels. I have seen women in government sectors and higher offices, as social workers and organization leaders. Women indeed are a compassionate lot. In my area of work, I have enjoyed ideating, planning, and executing various projects with women, and often been pleasantly surprised by their drive and involvement. It is true women are natural multitaskers and play their part with sincerity. Their diligence and ability to be good managers makes it a smooth sail when situations get challenging, when deadlines come calling. At some time, there definitely are women, there are women who one needs to watch out for, the kind who are consumed and driven by negativity. This is when one realizes it takes all kinds to make the world, but what goes for both genders is that men can be sugar-coated and dual-faced too. The sooner one understands and works around this with magnanimity, the easier the ride will be. I think it's a very honest thing to say. We have all kinds of people in our lives. So there's this lovely space called Into, where she talks about about nature and how that impacts her. All of you who know me know how much I love nature. And this chapter is called Out in the Open. So Dr. Shroff loves the outdoors. She's very adventurous. She's sporty. She does all kinds of things, despite being an entrepreneur and having a very busy and a very full life. But I think she makes her life even more full by pursuing hobbies and trying to become the best version of herself. I have to mention here, though, Anurita, I said this in Ahmedabad, I'm going to say it here. When I read the book, I felt like I was having a conversation with Dr. Shroff, because the way you've written the book makes you feel like you're speaking to someone and you're hearing them share their thoughts with you, as opposed to reading a story. And this was very, very interesting, because it's rare to have that that feeling that you're having a personal chat with someone.
Should I tell you in one line why it happened and how it happened? That was possible because when I was listening to Manjula Pooja Shroff tell me about her story, being a journalist, we meet so many actors. So I felt that how would it be? So I tried to behave like an actor who has to live that life. So for a long time, when I would talk to her, I would try to get into her shoes कि अगर अभी वो ये कर रही होती, अगर मैं दिल्ली में ऐसे अकेले होती तो मैं क्या करती? It was difficult for me to imagine because, like I said, protected, sheltered life. But वो acting वाले role में जैसे सब आप actors बोलते हैं ना कि I got into the skin of the character. So I actually got into the skin of the character, and that is why I think आपको ये feeling आया है.
It was lovely. Great.
I'm so
fun.
happy that you noted it, and people back in Ahmedabad, everybody was saying that the way when Diya Mirza was there in Ahmedabad, everybody's gone quite crazy. And Manjula, like she said, आज तक बातें हो रही हैं, आज तक मुझे मैसेजेस आते रहते हैं कि कितनी genuinely वो
I'm
पढ़
going
रही
back to the
थी।
book. This is not
no,
about
no,
me.
but इतना genuinely पढ़ रही थी. So for me as a writer of the book, it's honestly a very great compliment that somebody should be interested in how it is written. I'm honored.
Thank you. Okay, she's a nature lover just like me, and that makes this even more special. I've always been a city girl, even realized my dreams and aspirations in the city. But a part of my heart is unfailingly and eternally partial to the mountains, the forests, the flowing rivers. It is where I go for solace, to deal with issues and to think more clearly, to find strength and revitalize myself, to ponder and question, to find answers, to recharge. Nature has a unique quality. While its offerings remain the same for all, each person's takeaway varies as per their thinking, priority, and interaction. A mountain view could offer more joy than a ride in a fancy car. The waves of the sea could be more comforting than a palatial home. It is not for nothing that nature is known to be the greatest revitalizer. Getting in touch or allowing yourself to sync with nature is a step towards self-realization and untold joy. There are thoughts within and vibrations beyond that amalgamate to create serenity that is unparalleled. It is in the quietude of nature that you lose your concerns. It is the calmness of nature that enables you to de-stress, and the lap of nature where you find the true meaning and value of abundance. Nothing equals being around flowing waters amid green expanses of luscious forests or under vast open skies dotted with clouds. In fact, even imagining yourself in such spaces is comforting. अच्छा लगा ना सबको ये सुन के? But it's so true. It's a beautiful book. I hope many young people read it. I keep saying young because I think young people need mentors. They need people to, their own people to look up to. And as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's leading so many, you know, educational institutions, I'm sure she's going to inspire that whole lot because they know her personally. They're going to get to know her even more personally. But for the rest of us, there's a lot to learn and a lot to enjoy in this book. So thank you. I hope you enjoy reading it, and I hope you spread the good word.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for those inspiring words. With that, I would like to open the floor for our media friends for a quick Q&A session.
Hello. Adda ma'am, you also attended success in a very young age. So, do you feel for a woman it's more difficult to attain success, and you know there are a lot of social barriers? And what mantra you want to give to a person who is inspired by your success as such?
There's a very simple mantra offered in this book, which is Success Mantras and Musings. I think it would apply even for my life and my journey. Trust yourself. Believe in your own innate ability to know. There's a knowing that we're all born with. So tune into that, recognize it, respect it, and listen to it. The second thing is that success is not one moment of achievement. Success is about consistently pursuing the path of self-discovery. And to be able to do that, you need to identify your purpose. To me, success is being able to know what your purpose is and living a life that is driven by that purpose. It's not about winning a beauty title at 18 or winning an international title at 19 or being able to be in the movies, or none of that is success. Success is understanding what completes and fulfills joy in your heart.
Thanks, man.
Dr. Manjula Shroff, what are you planning next?
So related to the book, तो मैं नहीं जानती. Hopefully there'll be another language translation. But एक चीज़, you know, हम जब mainstream education करते हैं, तो हमें board results की बहुत importance होता है, because the school is known by the results, and so the teachers are always running towards syllabus completion, examination, बार-बार, you know, question papers देते रहते हैं. That is our task, right? I realized that if I am going to own up to this task, that मैं greater than, if I want to teach life and not just academics, then मेरे teachers से वो नहीं हो पाएगा, क्योंकि उनके 8 hours at school is timetable एकदम set in stone है, वो बिल्कुल हिला नहीं सकते उसको. So what I have started to do is, मेरी एक फंडा है, philosophy है, that unless you live a wholesome life, mental, physical and spiritual, then आप जो दिया जी ने जिक्र की, जो purpose of life है, you'll miss that. So what I have started to do is to start to train teachers and parents on purpose of life. If we have a generation of adults जो slightly higher vibration पे सोचने लगे, बच्चे अपने आप संभल जाते हैं. बच्चों पे ज़्यादा काम नहीं करना पड़ता है. It is actually us adults that need to unlearn and then relearn. बच्चे अपने आप, बच्चों का जो innate intelligence की जो बात हम कर रहे हैं ना, वो already है. इतने layers नहीं हैं. हमारे बहुत layers हैं. उसको unpeel करना होता है. बच्चों में तो वो नहीं हुआ है. If we get the parents and teachers sorted, children will be on the right path to discover their own purpose, which is unique to every individual. I hope I've answered. हाँ जी, हाँ बिल्कुल आइए ना मेरे workshop पे. You're most welcome.
आइडिया तो ये इनको जानती थी 10 साल से ज़्यादा, तो पब्लिक में बहुत मतलब शी इज़ अ फेमस पर्सनैलिटी फ्रॉम वेयर शी कम्स एंड एवरीबडी नोज हर. तो ये क्यूरियस हो गई अनुरिता और उन्होंने बोला इनके बारे में तो लिखना पड़ेगा. व्हेन शी फाउंड आउट सर्टन एस्पेक्ट्स अबाउट हर लाइफ एंड स्पेशली द चैलेंजेस दैट शी एक्सपीरियंस्ड, देन शी डिसाइडेड दैट दिस इज़ अ स्टोरी टू बी टोल्ड हियर. यही कहा था ना आपने? चलो, कितने टाइम लगा?
ऐसे देखा जाए तो मतलब अगर कंटिन्यूसली बैठो तो मेरे ख्याल से 6-8 महीने, बट हम मतलब इस पे जैसे मैंने कहा पूरा पैंडमिक में लगे थे.
इनका पैंडमिक प्रोडक्टिव गया.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम सोनाली नाइक है. मैं TV9 भारतवर्ष से हूँ. मेरा सवाल डॉक्टर श्रॉफ से है. आप एक तरफ होलिस्टिक एक्सपर्ट हो और एजुकेशन में भी आप काफ़ी बिजी रहते हो, तो दोनों चीज़ें कैसे मैनेज होती है?
I am blessed with a very good team. Any leader is only known by the quality of its team. Because मेरी टीम इतना अच्छा काम करती है academics में, मैं holistic education में ध्यान दे सकती हूँ. अगर मैं day-to-day operations करती, तो शायद वो जो extra मुझे करना था मुश्किल पड़ता. But I genuinely am blessed with a very, very good team. आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे?
I also think that when you're driven with purpose, time becomes abundant. It opens itself up for you. It's very interesting. When we are stressed and we're filled with anxiety and we're not happy doing what we do, time becomes short. We lose time very fast. But when we're doing something that gives us joy, time opens up. That's my experience. That's what I've noticed.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm not doing any one-on-one Q&A, so if you have any more questions, please ask them now.
थैंक यू सो मच फॉर द आइडिया. अभी तक तो सोचा नहीं है.
There's a lot that she's not revealed in this book. I want another book which has everything in it. Everything. I want to know everything.
मुश्किल काम है.
And she'll have to write it herself because ये किसी को बताएंगी नहीं. इनको ऐसे लिखना होगा जैसे आपने कहा, she'll have to write it like her own diary.
मुश्किल काम है.
नहीं, it's not. No.
क्योंकि उनकी लाइफ और उनके थॉट्स पे है तो उनको ऐसा लगता है. उनकी लाइफ के काफ़ी एस्पेक्ट्स हैं इसमें, बट दिस इज़ नॉट अ बायोग्राफी. दिस इज़ अबाउट हर थॉट्स, अबाउट हर जर्नी, एंड विच इज़ वेल इंटरस्पर्स्ड विथ एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड लिटिल पर्ल्स ऑफ विजडम.
बायोग्राफी बाकी है, वो मैं लिखवा के रहूँगी.
Hello. Here. My name is Pooja. So सबसे पहले तो आप तीनों को देखकर मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. 3 सक्सेसफुल महिलाएं एक साथ एक मंच पर बैठी हैं, तो यस बिल्कुल आप लोगों के लिए तालियां बनती हैं. और मेरा सवाल पूजा मैम से है कि आप महलों की रानी रही हैं, तो एक महलों की रानी से ऐसी क्या वो ख़ास बात थी कि आपको उतना आलीशान जीवन छोड़ के एक आम सफ़र पर चलना पड़ा? वो एक किक पॉइंट बताइए मुझे कि क्या था वो.
हाँ बोलिए. एक्चुअली यू ऑलरेडी रेड इट, सो यू कैन टेल.
मम्मी का पढ़ लिया, लेकिन मेरे हिसाब से
जी.
the turning point for her was making the choice between empowering herself and losing her identity. And I think because she was young, she had lost a lot of people she was very close to, she respected and loved. She had lost her mom, she had lost her uncle. The family would have gotten her married. She was at that young age, she was 21. अगर ये चली नहीं जाती तो इनकी शादी हो जाती. So she chose education. She chose to study and do it on her own terms. That's what she chose.
Amazing, amazing.
See, isn't it amazing? Absolutely. See, isn't it amazing? She's read the book, but she's a woman who thinks beyond.
Correct.
वो deeper thinking कर रही हैं, वो deeper layers पे think कर रही हैं, which is why she knows that आप अगर किसी चीज़ के लिए बाहर निकलते हैं घर से, from a protected home, from a home that most people will think enviously about,
जी.
it has to be for your own growth and empowerment.
बिल्कुल.
और एक पैरा इन्होंने पढ़ा था that my mother was this very beautiful lady who was like a porcelain doll, जिनकी role थी to listen and not to say. And if she's been my role model, it's been a reverse role model. मैं बचपन से somewhere I realized that मेरी एक आवाज़ होनी चाहिए.
बिल्कुल.
I will not be just a follower. So it's all
Yes.
about empowerment. जी.
Yes, yes.
Bang
One
on the
more
dot.
question to you, Pooja ji.
जी जी. Are you also Pooja?
Yeah.
Did you say Pooja? हाँ.
Yeah.
जी जी जी.
So one more question to you कि आजकल का जो यूथ है वो छोटी छोटी बातों पे डिसअपॉइंट हो जाता है, कुछ बड़ा फैसला ले लेता है. तो एज अ मेंटर आप उन यूथ को क्या समझाना चाहेंगी? क्या वो एक मंत्रा देना चाहेंगी कि मतलब छोटी सी आपका लाइफ इज़ वेरी बिग, छोटी सी चीज़ों पे डिसअपॉइंट होना मतलब डजंट मेक सेंस, तो वो एक खास मंत्रा आज के यूथ के लिए क्या है आपका?
सी इस पे तो अनफॉर्चुनेटली बहुत टाइम लगेगा. I'll say it as very briefly. You're right that youth do not understand the value of life.
Yes.
अगर एक पार्टी ड्रेस के लिए, एक बोर्ड एग्जामिनेशन के लिए किसी ने कुछ कह दिया, एक लड़की के लिए, एक लड़का के लिए अगर ज़िंदगी दे सकते हैं, they take their life, die. They don't understand the value of life.
Yes.
और शायद ये कमी हम में है एज अडल्ट्स, ये कमी हम में है एज टीचर्स, ये कमी हम में है एज पेरेंट्स कि हमने नहीं सिखा पाए हैं हाउ वैल्यूबल लाइफ इज़. तो उस पर हम बहुत काम कर रहे हैं. वी आर ट्राइंग टू गिव दम मेंटल इमोशनल स्ट्रेंथ
Yeah.
to tell them the perspective of life that आप अगर 60% लाते हो बोर्ड एग्ज़ाम में, आपकी ज़िंदगी में किसको याद है यहाँ पे कितने परसेंटेज लाई हो आप 12th में? कोई फ़र्क पड़ा आपकी ज़िंदगी में, आपकी सक्सेस में? बट ये चीज़ हम बच्चों को नहीं समझाते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
तभी तो वो अपना जान ले लेते हैं if they don't get 90%, because we don't tell them. So वो काम हम पेरेंट्स के ज़रिए कर रहे हैं मैम. I hope I've understood.
Yeah, I understood. Thank you.
Which, in the absence of which all these things happen, you know, where small things appear very big. So one of the main key things that I think as parents and as elders in society that one has to do is to instill self-esteem in children. That in turn will probably look after other things.
What did you do?
Yeah, in my experience, I've realized that, and it happened with me as well. I think what became a huge shift in my understanding of life was getting involved with social work. And I think that that's something that should become an innate part of every child's development and growth. When you work with people who do not have as much as you do, you develop a sense of gratitude. And gratitude is a very powerful thing. It's a very humbling thing. It's a very important tool to get through life. It is when we are ungrateful that we are so easily dissatisfied. That's one. The second is also, like ma'am mentioned, I think when you're able to make a difference in people's lives, no matter how young you are, and everyone is capable of doing that, it develops and strengthens self-esteem. And then also, of course, you recognize the value of life. So I really think that, and this is something that my school did consciously with us, and I've continued to do through life. The one thing that has ensured that I've remained grounded and rooted is the work I do outside of films. It keeps me in touch with reality. It keeps me in touch with the truth. It keeps me humble. It keeps me grateful. And I really think that this is something very powerful that everyone should do. Help make a difference in people's lives.
अच्छा लगा अगेन आपसे बताइए कि कैसा रहा एक्सपीरियंस ये आपका था एंड बुक के बारे में आपने बहुत सारी बातें की बताइए कि कैसा रहा कैसा होता एसोसिएशन जब भी आप बुक के मौके पर यहाँ
ये बहुत खूबसूरत किताब लिखी गई है. अनुरीता राठौर जडेजा ने डॉक्टर मंजुला पूजा श्रॉफ के बारे में ये किताब लिखी है. ऑफ कोर्स इसे बायोग्राफी नहीं कहा जा सकता. इट्स मोर a sharing of life experiences जहाँ पे आपको इनके ज़िंदगी के छोटे छोटे विंडोज़ मिलते हैं, anecdotes मिलते हैं, और उसमें of course there's hidden inspiration and wisdom, and she said a lot of things that are very insightful. मैंने अपनी लाइफ की जर्नी में देखा है कि जब भी हम ओपनली शेयर करते हैं और इतनी ऑनेस्टली शेयर करते हैं तब वो जो शेयरिंग होती है या जो बात होती है वो लोगों के दिलों तक पहुंचती है. इट रियली टचेस पीपल. सो आई थिंक ऑफ कोर्स ये एड्यूपेनर है, इनकी मतलब एजुकेशनल संस्थाएं हैं. ये शी इज़ समबडी हु इज़ बिन अ लीडर फॉर मैनी ईयर्स. और ये बच्चों के लिए एक आइकॉन है, ये एक इंस्पिरेशन है. तो जब वो ये किताब पढ़ेंगे तो उनसे और भी प्रेरित होंगे, उनसे और भी इंस्पिरेशन मिलेगी. आई ऑल्सो थिंक इट्स अ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट बुक फॉर विमेन, क्योंकि हमारे देश में कल्चरली हम सब जानते हैं कि औरतें अभी भी बहुत मुश्किल से अपना जो हक की जगह होती है उसे आसानी से नहीं मिलती. बहुत संघर्ष होते हैं औरत की ज़िंदगी में टू फाइंड हर ट्रू कॉलिंग, टू फाइंड हर प्लेस, टू बी एबल टू डू व्हाट शी वांट्स टू डू, टू परस्यू व्हाट शी केयर्स अबाउट. एंड ये एक रॉयल्टी में पैदा हुई. इन्होंने वो ज़िंदगी को बहुत पीछे छोड़ दिया और आगे बढ़ी अपनी खोज में, अपनी सच्चाई की खोज में, which is a very powerful thing that I got from this book. So I hope many young people read it and are inspired by it, and I hope especially women read it and are inspired by it.
पूजा जी, अब आपको तो पता है, अब तो पता हो गया होगा कि कौन से नंबर की बस कहाँ जाती है, कहाँ से स्टार्ट होती है.
देखा, मैं इतनी बार खोई हूँ वो बसेस में, मैं बता नहीं सकती आपको. मुझे ये नहीं पता होता था कि किधर उतरना है, कौन सी बस चढ़ना है. तब से अब तक बहुत सीख गई हूँ, बहुत कुछ सीख गई हूँ. अब मैं पूरी दुनिया के लिए ट्रैवल करती हूँ. प्रैक्टिकली द होल वर्ल्ड आई हैव ट्रैवल्ड अलोन. एक ज़माना था एक डेस्टिनेशन से दूसरा डेस्टिनेशन जाने में घबराहट होती थी, राइट? जैसे बोलते हैं ना, डर के आगे जीत ही होती है. सो आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस दैट लिटरली. जैसे दिया जी ने कहा, आई रियली होप कि मैं इस बुक्स के ज़रिए यूथ को इंस्पायर कर सकूं. मैं वैसे यूथ के साथ काम करती हूँ. उनकी वेलबींग सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट है मेरे लिए. इट्स नॉट ओनली माई कैरियर, इट्स ऑल्सो माई पैशन. हर एक नेगेटिव चीज़ जब हो जाता है, एक बच्चा कहीं पे कुछ कर जाता है, आई ऑलवेज टेक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी थिंकिंग हमने और क्या कुछ कर सकते थे, हम कहाँ कमी, वेयर इज़ द गैप, वी आर ट्राइंग सो हार्ड, वेयर इज़ द गैप. आपने पढ़ा होगा अभी हाल ही में, सम क्लास 9-10 बॉयज़ हैव हैरेस्ड देयर ओन क्लासमेट. अब आप समझें, हर रोज़ आप मिलते हो, ये आपकी दोस्त है, आपको प्रोटेक्ट करना चाहिए, आप हैरेस कैसे कर सकते हो? सो समथिंग इज़ रॉन्ग. आई होप दैट वी कैन सेट थिंग्स राइट. एक बुक से तो होगा नहीं, बट कहीं तो शुरुआत है. यू नो व्हाट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट, आई एम एन एड्यूप्रेनर, आई एम अ लीडर इन द फील्ड ऑफ एजुकेशन. और शायद इस बुक उस जरिए थोड़ी सीरियसनेस मिलेगी. बट यू नो व्हेन इट्स पीपल लाइक हर, व्हाई डू दे से मूवी स्पीक मोर? When people like her come and say the same thing, it's a validation of what we are saying, and many more people believe it. And therefore she's using her position rightly and wisely, right? Somewhere Anurita belongs to your fraternity.
Yeah.
Somewhere she said that इनके बारे में लिखा जाएगा तो शायद we can bring a change. She took her own profession seriously. Like I said earlier, मैं power of the book seriously नहीं समझी थी. I did not know that a book can be so powerful. And पता है, ये रह जाएगा long after me. My thoughts will stay long after me. So thank you for giving words to my thought, and thank you for believing and spreading my thoughts.
Thank you.
Seriously. और ये proof है ना, women are helping each other. वो bottom line है.
अनुरिता जी, इस दौरान कितना चैलेंजिंग था, क्योंकि एक आसान बात नहीं होती है बुक को लिखना. क्या चैलेंजिंग पार्ट और किस तरह से आपने उसे जाना?
सच बोलें तो मुझे चैलेंजिंग इसीलिए नहीं लगा क्योंकि जब ये बातें कर रही थी अपने एजुकेशन और वो सब तो हमने पढ़ा हुआ है, सुना हुआ है, पर उसके बियॉन्ड जो ये बातें करती थी लाइफ के बारे में, लोगों के बारे में, कैसे हेल्प कर सकते हैं, ये सब, तो वो सारी चीज़ों में मुझे ऐसा लगा कि ये तो मुझे समझ में आ रहा है ये तो मैं भी बिलीव कर रही हूँ. दैट इज़ वाई इट बिकेम ईजी टू राइट दिस बुक, बिकॉज उनके जो थॉट्स हैं वो रेजोनेट किए, और मैंने लिखा उसके बाद वो कह रही हैं कि उनको रेजोनेट किए. तो आई थिंक समवेयर यू नो, वो बोलते हैं ना, पजल अच्छे से बैठ गया.
इनकी शादी अच्छी हो गई. Yeah, a writer, somebody who's writing a story about you has to be married to you in mind and thought, no, to be able to write.
Yeah, I
about
have to
you.
say that there were no challenges. मतलब मैं अगर इनसे ईमेल में भी कभी बात करती थी, कभी फ़ोन पे बात करती थी, कभी मिल के बात करती थी, पर वो अगर मुझे 2 सेंटेंसेस बोलते थे मेरे प्रश्न के, तो उनको 4 या 5 मैं बना के अगर जब बताती थी तो उन्हें लगता था कि अरे ये सब तो उन्होंने ही कहा है. So this is how it was, and that I think was enjoyable for me as well. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि मैं इनके मन में घुस चुकी हूँ.
पूजा जी, जो इंग्लिश में आपका सक्सेस मंत्र है, बहुत सारे सिटी, छोटे सिटी में इंग्लिश लिया था बहुत सारी लड़कियों की.
इसका हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन भी कराना चाहिए. गुजराती तो किया हुआ
कैसे
है.
पहुंचेगा आपको जो मैसेज है, जो मतलब पावर आपने सबसे दिखाया, जिससे आपने बस में ट्रैवल किया, यहाँ तक दिया आपने, बाकी लड़की की हिम्मत हुआ कि हम भी ऐसे करें, आपकी तरह बढ़ो, तो कैसे पहुंचेगा वहाँ?
जी कोशिश करेंगे. इफ़ वी फाइंड अ पब्लिशर हु ट्रस्ट दिस टू मेक इट इन हिंदी एंड अदर रीजनल लैंग्वेजेस. मैं ओडिशा से हूँ, होपफुली उड़िया में एक किताब करेंगे. हिंदी में तो करना ही चाहिए बिकॉज भारत भाषा हिंदी है, बट वो तो आगे देखा जाएगा. विल डेफिनेटली होप फॉर दैट. और जो ऑटोबायोग्राफी दिया जी ने बोला कि मैं छोड़ूंगी नहीं, आई होप समथिंग विल हैपन. आई होप आई गेट द गट्स टू डू दैट.
नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या है आपका? नेक्स्ट क्या है आपका?
Autobiography. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.